First thing I like to do before I put the camera together is get this ribbon cable installed. So this ribbon cable is a little bit difficult to get in there, and as you can see I accidentally broke the little tab here, but that's okay because I still have one of them. What you're going to do is you're going to slide the ribbon cable in with the exposed contact points facing up. There's the shiny side and then there's the covered side. So we're going to stick the exposed side up and fit that in there. It should slide in pretty good. Then you're going to slide the little clip in there, and as you can see there's a grooved side. This is where the forceps come in. See, I've got the other side already starting to break as well too. Alright, as you can see I've got it fit in there. The only thing is the two little sides are not locking, but it's a little complicated to get it in there. The easiest way I figured out to do it is you've got a little channel on the little plastic groove, and then the groove kind of goes together a little bit sharp. So what I do is have the sharp part pointing back, and I take the little groove and just kind of pop it in there and lock it in place. And what this does is it takes the little plastic casing, so when you slide the ribbon cable in there, the little plastic sheeting is here. That little plastic piece in the back kind of pushes up on the back and locks it into place. So we've got that set up already. Also, you want to make sure, just give it a little tug. It doesn't have to be too tight, but just give it a little tug. Make sure it's not going to slide out and that you got a nice solid lock in there. Alright, next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start assembling the case. Now, first thing you'll see is, where do I put the screws? There are no screws involved in keeping the case together. So what we're going to do is, we're going to take the sides, and it's pretty self-explanatory on how they go. The pieces can't fit any other way. So you're going to take your two sides. In my case, this is going to go right here. So like I said, it won't go any other way. So we've got that piece in there, but before we put that piece in there, we want to put these little holders. These are what actually holds the board in place. So these go pretty much where all the little holes are. You have a little board holder there. So as you can see, I've got a little hole right here. I'm going to stick the board holder, and then drop it into place right here. And at first it's going to kind of not sit completely flush. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to actually stick the little carbon fiber components in there, or the glass fiber components in there on one side. Now I did not use any glue. If you like, you can use glue. I don't think you really need to. I mean, everything went together pretty nice and solid. It locked into place very well. Just some of these don't like to go into the little holes because they're not cut 100%. Okay, so as you can see, I've got two of them in place. Then I'm going to go ahead and slide the board into place here, and then you can go ahead and put the corresponding piece here to lock it in. There we go. So as you can see, I've got those locked in there, and then this gives you a little channel to slide the board into. So my board's going to slide in right there. Now comes the tricky part, is getting the other side to lock in. So the best way I did it was to kind of raise the board up just a little bit, and then drop the little carbon fiber pieces in there, or the glass fiber pieces in there. This one is the trickiest one because it goes right between two chips, and you want to make sure you don't damage any of these chips. So you just kind of raise it up just a little bit. I think actually it might be easier to do the other side first. So I believe that's the, yeah, there we go, that's the top right here, and then we're going to go ahead and lock the bottom in. There you go. Once you got the case kind of all assembled like this, it's pretty much downhill from here. This is probably the most complicated part, is getting all these little pieces to connect. But once you get them in there, you're pretty good from here. So next thing we want to do is we want to insert our battery. As you can see, the battery has a nice little slot that they've developed here for it. So if you just stick the battery in here, you can go ahead and fit it in there nice and tight. First, we want to make sure we plug it in. Remember the polarity on the battery. There's a little divot on the back of the battery plug, so we want to make sure that that goes into the correct polarity. We don't want to fry our camera. Okay, our battery's plugged in, and we're going to go ahead and slide it right in there. So we've got our battery installed. Let's go ahead and install our bottom piece, or our side pieces. There's only two. One of them is pretty self-explanatory, the USB and the micro SD card. And this will actually just fit in there. It can only go one way again. So what you want to do is kind of slide it underneath the USB and then stick it in there. And as you can see, we've got a nice tight fit. Then the next thing we want to do is install our lens. Before we put this piece in there, we want to install our lens. Okay, so when you're connecting the lens to the actual ribbon cable, what you want to do is slide the lens ribbon through the GoPro case or the Mopro case through the front. This is where you'll choose if you want your lens to be facing up or facing down. And from this point, what you'll do is if you want it facing up, so if the camera facing in this direction and the button's on the bottom, you'll make sure you slide your ribbon cable through the top. If you want your lens upside down, you can go ahead and slide it through the bottom. I actually chose the top, and again, if you ever wanted to change your mind and record different, you could just go into the Mobius software and change your settings to 180 degrees. So you have the little breakout board on the ribbon cable. What you want to do is you want to connect it matching. You want the shiny side up, or the exposed contacts up on both sides. And you'll just simply fit this in there. And it's kind of a press fit. So be careful, be very gentle with it. Don't force it if it doesn't slide in. You should feel it click. And you'll have a little bit of a gap right here, about 1 millimeter or 2. Don't worry, if you accidentally plug this in incorrectly, your camera won't power on. When you go to power on, you'll just get a series of red LEDs flashing throughout the camera. So don't worry, you won't fry anything, you won't mess anything up. And there you go. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Now before we assemble the camera and put everything together, I want to go ahead and put the standoffs in there. One thing to note is the front plate and the back plate have some recessed mounts here for the screws. The screws are going to be facing the outside, and you want the recessed sides to accept the screws. So just remember that before you start assembling your camera. So what I'll go ahead and do here is I'll go ahead and stick 4 of the screws. We'll go ahead and thread our standoffs. I'm going to tighten those up nice and finger tight. Alright, now this may or may not be one of the hardest steps for everybody. Make sure all your components are cleared from these little points. As the top case goes on, it's going to lock the 2 pieces together. So you want to make sure that all your little standoffs and you want to make sure that all the little carbon fiber pieces are in their own grooves. As you can see, this one just keeps escaping. So once that's there, you want to make sure everything's ready. Then you're going to put the 2 cases together. And they can only go one way also. They'll line up. As you can see, I've got the 2 longer pieces here and the 2 shorter pieces there. And you've got the 2 longer pieces here and the 2 shorter pieces here. So we're going to go ahead and slide the 2 pieces together. And now this is where it becomes a little tricky. You want all these pieces to lock into place. So it's kind of a push-pull, finagle kind of deal where you got to kind of move these back and forth to get them to lock into place. And then while you're doing that, some of the things might actually fall out of place. I found the easiest way to do it is getting this corner locked in and press fitting it together, and then fitting all the rest of the pieces together. So you guys can stand by while I try to figure, this press game here and try to get everything locked in. Alright, once you made sure that everything was secured, go ahead and just tighten everything up. And you don't have to over tighten everything, you just snug. And then we'll go back through the case, make sure that you have everything secured, everything all lined up. And now we're going to go ahead and mount our lens. Now this part I thought was a little bit interesting how they have it, but what you're going to do basically is slide the ribbon cable in all the way, flip the lens over, and I'm using this 3M tape here. They included a few strips of it. I only used one. The stuff is pretty tight, pretty strong actually. Position your lens. Oh, we have a little boo-boo here. We're going to position our lens and tighten down. Alright guys, there you have it. There is the Mopro case, now available at teamlegit.com. A couple really cool things to point out. Now you have the great form factor of the GoPro Hero 3 camera. A couple things I did not like was that now the lens is completely exposed. So if you go down pretty hard, chances are either that ribbon cable is going to rip or the lens is going to break. That's kind of a drawback. But however, you have the form factor of the GoPro. The Mopro does not fit in the waterproof case. The lens sticks out just too far, and it just will not fit in the case, in the waterproof case. However, it does fit just fine in the frame, the GoPro frame. That's not a problem. And this mod is also available for the wide-angle lens and the standard angle lens. Here I have the standard angle lens. The buttons are easily accessible underneath the lens. As you can see, all the LEDs are still exposed. You can still make sure. Another cool thing is that the SD card pops in and out easily, and now you have USB video out access here on the side. I hope this video helped you guys, and if it did help you build your Mopro case, make sure you guys click the like button. And again, thank you guys for your support. And if you guys like seeing these exciting new products and new things coming out on the FPV field, don't forget to click the subscribe button. And if you guys like the cool shirt that I'm wearing, don't forget to check out CSFPV. Patrick over there, he's got some really cool and exciting new designs. Very creative, very ingenuitive when it comes to the FPV shirts. So don't forget to check out his page. And don't forget to click the subscribe as always. I'm Johnny with Team Legit. Thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Matthew Mackler. We are in beautiful North San Diego, and we are at the North San Diego FPV Meet.